Hey, good morning, everyone. It's me, Mimosa. I'm finally being able to come back on. And as I told you all in the previous video, I wanted to come on and talk to you all about Latinka Hancock. As you all know, there was the untimely death of Mr. Tyre Nichols. He was literally beaten to death by 5 Memphis police officers, and his funeral was today. His homegoing service was today. And let's have a moment of silence for him so that his soul can transition to be with the Lord and for his family, friends, and loved ones. So let's have a moment of silence. Okay. Very heavy situation, especially if you actually watch video. It's really hard to watch. Especially how that young man called out for his mother was so reminiscent of George Floyd. Just a terrible thing that happened to him, and I pray that his family is able to get justice and that all the police officers who were involved, that they go to prison. It's not about the color of your skin, it's about your acts. And I come from a family of police officers. I come from a family of law enforcement. So I know what it's like to not know if your parent is going to come home or not when they are in that uniform and wearing that badge. I know that firsthand. So I see it from a different perspective. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk about the case of Latinka Hancock and explain to you all everything that transpired. And then we're going to break down and talk about how can we be able as a community to work together, as in the community and the police officers, so that these issues and these type of assaults do not continue to happen, because there is a problem. So Latinka Hancock was actually in an area called Butler Township. It's in a very small area in the state of Ohio. She went to a McDonald's to go and get something to eat. She ordered her food. She actually ordered a Big Mac. And she asked for extra cheese. She ordered her food. She paid for it. As she was going down the street, you know how you check your food, she noticed that her order was wrong. She had ordered the extra cheese, but there wasn't extra cheese on her sandwich. So she turns around, she goes back to the McDonald's, and she's requesting for the manager. The manager comes to the front. She speaks to the manager. She gives her complaint to the manager about, hey, I ordered this, and my order was wrong. The manager calls the cook to come to the front. She's speaking to the cook as well as the manager is speaking to the cook. Latinka requests for her sandwich to be made over because it wasn't made correctly. The cook becomes combative and angry and argumentative because they don't want to make the food over. Mind you, she had already paid for the food and she already had the receipt for paying for the food. So now there's an argument that's ensued. It's not like a volatile argument, but people's voices are being raised. More so on the cook side, because the cook just did not want to remake the food, which is crazy to me because I'm like, that's your job. If you didn't do the order correctly, by the time she came back, the food was cold. You all are talking, her food is cold. A person wants a fresh sandwich. They don't want a cold sandwich. So as that ensues, the manager decides that they're going to call the police. The reason being is because Miss Hancock had requested for them to reimburse her money. Her thing was, if you can't remake the sandwich, I just want all my money back. Just reimburse me my money. I just want a refund. So then the manager is refusing to refund her money. So then the police are called because I guess from the manager's standpoint, I want the cook to remake the food. The cook doesn't want to remake the food, but I don't want to give you a refund because the cook doesn't want to remake the food. The whole thing just seemed really strange to me because it really could have been rectified right there in that restaurant that day. But now we're here. So Mrs. Hancock decides that she's going to sit out in her car and wait for the police to arrive because the manager has made it known that they're going to call the police and let the police handle the situation. The police are called. The police come up there. They speak to the manager and I guess the cook first. No one knows how that conversation went. We're hoping that the full video cam of that conversation is released because the police officers did have a police cam on. They did have cameras on their bodies. They had body cams on. But after they had a conversation with the McDonald's employees, they came outside. Miss Hancock signaled for them to come by her car so that she could speak to them. So she begins to explain to them exactly what happened. Hey, I came to this restaurant. I ordered a sandwich with extra cheese. They've refused to remake the sandwich because they had made it incorrectly the first time. The cook didn't want to remake the sandwich, so I asked the manager just to refund me my money. Don't worry about it. The manager was refusing to refund me my money. So she's explaining this to the police officers. The police officers then say, well, can we get your first and last name and some identification? We want to issue you a no trespassing warrant. Now, usually with no trespassing warrants, those are issued to people who are a nuisance or to people who have done something wrong. I don't think that making a complaint against a restaurant that did not make the meal correctly would be protocol for a no trespassing warrant. Again, I cannot wait till that body cam footage comes out so people can be able to know precisely why was it that they decided that they were going to issue a no trespassing warrant. Oh, thank you so much. So fast forward, then they tell her, put your hands behind your back, you're under arrest. So, of course, she's apprehensive because she doesn't understand why she's being arrested. And they said, because you refused to give us your identification. And she said, well, just don't worry about it. I don't even want a refund. I just want to be done with this. So she begins to proceed to walk away. The police officer is like, no, come back here. We're arresting you. And she's like, for what? They refused to refund me my money because they made my order incorrectly. Now, let me tell you something that I noticed. You could tell that there was a tussle or some type of melee according to the police cam, because that's what was so funny to me. The police cam footage, the police department at Butler Township released that footage so quickly because she had made an accusation that she had been assaulted. And they released the footage, and what you see is them, was a calm conversation until they proceeded to try to arrest her. She's not hitting anyone. She's just like, no, tell me why you're arresting me, and that would upset anyone, especially when they go into a restaurant and they don't understand why they are being arrested because they're making a formal complaint against the staff of the restaurant because they were incompetent with making her order. Like, that's crazy to me. So when you look on the police cam, you see that there's some type of tussle. And you see that when the tussle finishes, she's sitting in the car. She's sitting with her legs outside of the car. Her arms are handcuffed at this point. And she's crying profusely. And you could just see the blood just like coming down her face. And she's saying, you hurt me like I'm a woman. Why would you hit me? Why would you hit me? And she's saying it. But you don't physically see any of that on this camera, which was very strange. And then if you notice how the police officer was talking, he was and the police officer I'm speaking of is Officer Stanley. He was the actual police officer that assaulted this woman. I'm going to tell you the other part that just so happened to happen. He was very strategic with his wording on the police cam, on the body cam. He said, you were resisting arrest. We were trying to get you to calm down. Like, he's specifically saying specific things. And I'm saying to myself, well, how in the world does this lady face get messed up like that? Like, her face is like bleeding. It's like blood coming down her face. And I'm just like, it's two of y'all and one of her. She definitely didn't run anywhere because we would have saw that on the camera. And it's just like, what is going on? So fast forward, there's another person who was recording who had actually went to the McDonald's as a patron. They secretly recorded, and you can see this police officer punching her in her face. Yes. Someone secretly recorded it. So I think it's very, 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 very strange how the police department was so quick to release the body cam footage, because on the body cam footage, the police officers look innocent. But then when the actual civilian footage was released, nobody don't have anything to say. So let's talk about her injuries. Latinka Hancock actually had to spend a night at the hospital overnight. She has internal facial damage. Her teeth are loose in her mouth. Several of her teeth are loose in her mouth. And when you see the press conference with her and her attorneys, you can tell by the way she's holding her mouth, something is going on with her mouth. And you could see teeth. You could tell that it probably hurts for her to even talk because her teeth are loose. And you can visibly tell something's going on with her teeth. And I don't think that this was something that was going on prior to where it would be a hindrance for her to be able to speak correctly. Then, on top of everything else, we end up finding out that something actually happens with her nose as well. So these are her injuries that she's going through, and she's still getting treatment to be able to treat these injuries. And when it comes to dental stuff, you don't know what type of nerve damage that this woman may have. So as of right now, Officer Stanley is on administrative paid leave. The other police officer, he's not on any leave. He's still on duty. During the press conference, they're trying to speak to the police of the chief of police, and they're also trying to speak to the lieutenant who basically, had them go out to the McDonald's. And so there are specific questions that the media were asking them at this press conference. Do you feel like your officers use excessive force? And he keeps referring to the body cam footage. Sir, stop it. Like, that's the stuff I don't like. That's one thing I can respect about that police chief in Memphis. She knew that her officers were negligent, and she copped up to her, she admitted that. She admitted that. And she was outraged by the behavior of her officers. And I can respect that. But I can't respect this police chief and this lieutenant who see their officers acting out of hand and not admitting to that. And speaking about body cam footage, let's be clear. Those officers knew exactly where the placement of that body cam footage was, and you could tell almost that they were, the way that they struck her, they were very strategic, even in the way that they moved their bodies to hit this woman, because none of it is on the body cam footage. All of it is on the video that the civilian took. So now this woman is basically frightened. Can you imagine? You don't even want to probably even go to another restaurant for the rest of your life because of what happened to you. And then just the mental anguish. This woman actually said that she thought that they were going to kill her. In that press conference, the way that woman was crying and so upset. And this is my thing. A lot of people, they want to talk about, let's defund the police. That's not a solution. We need police officers, but we need good police officers. We need police officers, but we need great ones. Ones who have taken that oath and who are going to wear that badge and honor that badge and the duties of that badge. Not ones who are just wearing it and wanting to be police officers because maybe they were bullied in school, or maybe because they're on power trips. I was having a conversation with a friend. Diet is drunk. I don't know what that is. Okay. I was having a conversation with a friend, and she actually has a fear of police officers completely. She feels like all police officers are either some type of demonic energy, or they have some type of pedophilia. Like, she just feels like something is up with police officers psychologically. And I told her, I don't know what she's talking about because that's not how I feel. I feel like there are good or bad people all over the world, regardless of whatever your career is. However, this is my suggestion to all uh, police precincts all over the country. First of all, there needs to be a deeper psychological evaluation that is done with police officers. I think that there needs to be mandatory psychological testing every single 6 months. Every single 6 months, there needs to be some type of major psychological evaluation and testing, as well as mandatory 6-month lie detector tests that are done with all police officers. Also, I think that there needs to be mandatory therapy bi-weekly for all police officers. I don't care if you're a detective. I don't care if all you do is sit at the desk and do paperwork. If you wear a badge, these are things that need to be done. And of course, to a lot of police officers, that would be a nuisance to them. Well, if it's a nuisance to you, you don't need to be behind a badge. You don't need to wear that badge, period. Because at the end of the day, there's too many police officers doing bad things, hurting people, killing people, abusing people. And what in your right frame of mind would say, let me punch this woman in the face 3 times? 3 times you punched this woman in the face with so much force, you literally almost broke her teeth. And some of them probably are fractured because they just said that they're loose. I'm quite sure by now she's went to some type of orthodontist by now. And so another thing, because I did a little bit of research about this particular precinct in Butler Township, because I wanted to know, okay, what type of training do they have? Do they have any type of psychological evaluation? Okay, do they have any type of conversation with the police officers about excessive force? How often are they trained on tactical defense? So they're only trained once a year on tactical defense. And to me, that was a red flag. And then to find out that this particular precinct, their training, the part of their training is actually allowing police officers to punch, but it does not say in the face, it says in other parts of the body to be able to disarm. Disarm. Key word, disarm someone is doing something unlawful. This woman didn't have nothing in her hand to disarm her of. So why you punching her in the face, sir, Officer Stanley? Why? When I tell you that bothered me, when you all have some time, go onto YouTube and look at that press conference. The way that woman cried at that press conference, you could tell that she is so broken inside because of what transpired and what happened to her. There's a few people that are on live right now. If you feel like it, if you could put in the chat, what are some of your suggestions that you think that we should be able to do so that there could be better training or more psychological evaluations for police officers? Anybody want to say anything? I know there's a few people in the chat. Oh, thank you for sharing the Church of Melanin. No one has anything to say? There's people here. Okay, well, that's my commentary. I don't believe in defunding any police department. Police are needed. What we do not need are people thinking that it's okay to have another run at the Capitol again, or we living in Purge, the movie, real life. So we definitely need police officers. But I feel like there's some things that can be done so that communities and the police department can be able to effectively work together and be cohesive, so that there aren't situations like uh, this one, and even more so, like Tyre Nichols. Oh my gosh, to see that picture of that young man in that hospital bed. If that wasn't a futuristic 2023 Emmett Till moment, I don't know what else would be. Very disheartening to see. So, anyone that's watching the replay, when you have some time, tell me what some of your suggestions are of how can we be able to fix this issue, because it's definitely an issue. All right, until next time, good night, everyone. It's pretty late. It's almost 3 a.m. Sorry I'm coming on so late, but I'm trying to get these videos out, I'm trying to talk about the things that I need to talk about. I'm going to start doing some commentary on investments as well. I did a poll on my community wall, so I'll be giving you all my stocks of the week, what I think is going to move and what's not going to move. So I'm going to do some commentary with that as well. It's going to be really easy, beginner friendly. So if you watch this video, my stock choice of the week is Zim. Zim is a international shipping company, and it's at a really good buy price. Last year, Zim was almost $100 a share, almost. And now Zim is like in the $20 range. Let me make sure. I'll tell you for sure. But it's definitely on my list. Let's see. I'll tell you in just a second. Let's see what Zim is. Yep. Zim is $20.85 right now. And after hours, it's already moved up 2.2%. Today, it moved up 7.65%. So in total, just within the past 24 hours, it's moved up 10%. It's actually really good. Zim, ZIM is the ticker. And like I said, it is a international shipping company. And for the analyst, 67% says that it's definitely a company that you should hold. So what's really good about it is that it's in the $20 range per share, but the dividend yield on it is 145.38%. Listen, if you invested in Zim and you were in Zim last year, you got a really good dividend payout. I mean, really good. So that's my stock pick of the week is Zim. So, any questions? There's a few people in the chat. Thank you all for coming on. I know it's kind of late. Any questions? Okay. Well, until next time, this is Mimosa, and I'm signing off. And when you get some time, look into, investing in Zim. Look into it. For me, a good buy price XM is like the $18 range. I want to say that the low was 17, but yeah, the buy, if you can get it around the $18 range, like that's the low. And then the highest I would pay for Zim maybe would be like $25. So get it anywhere between $18 and $25. I'm telling you, Zim is going to go back up. It's inevitable. So, alrighty. Until next time. Oh, thank you so much. That's sweet. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. No, of course. You're always welcome. No, 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 no. You're welcome. You're welcome at any time. The Church of Melanin. You're always welcome. Okay, so until next time, good night, you all. Thank you again for coming on.